Thank you for joining us online. We'll be starting very soon. Namandab, 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 namandab. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our Dharma Family Service. If you happened to watch last week, we didn't have in-person service. We only had online, and I continued talking about Ohigan. We're in this kind of period of the equinox, and so I'm going to continue just a little bit longer, even though the equinox is a couple of weeks behind us. But I'd also like to take this opportunity to continue speaking about Buddhist values. And so first, let's do Sutra chanting. And today, once again, we'll chant Sanbutsuge, which is on page 22 in the small book and page 79 in the big book. And later I'll be talking about a section in there, but for now we can just chant. Namandab, 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 namandab. Nichigatsumani shuko enyo kaishitsu onpei yunyaku jumok nyorai yogen chosemunin shogaku daion koru jippo kaimon shojin sanmai chie itoku muryo shushoke jintai zennen shobutsu hokai gujin jin no kugo gaitai mumyo yokunu seson yomu nino shishi jin toku muryo kukun kodai chie jin myo komyo iso shindo daisen ganga sabutsu zai shou kado shojin mifugedatsu fusejoin kainin shojin nyoze sanmai chie ijo gosei tokubutsu fugyo shigan isai kuku isadai an keshi ubutsu yakusen okuman mu
大小修行五者供養一切使徒諸仏不尿愚道見性不脚非尿五者諸仏世界不不可見無種節度光明師匠変師諸国如是精進異人難女両が差別国土第一五種奇妙道場超絶国如内音二無等相ガト愛民道達一切実法来生心熱症状意図が国経楽安穏古物神妙是が心象発願の非力少々欲実法生存知恵無限上領子孫知が信行軽量心身食毒中が行精進忍術不軽ナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブ願にしく毒平等性一切道本菩提心往生安楽国南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏 What do you?
Okay, we're going to sing the Shinshu Anthem, and it's in the blue folder under S. Speak to me in teachings profound. What happiness you bring to me beyond all compare. I truly seek to follow the way you've laid for us, and gratefully rejoice in your infinite embrace. Amida, you liberate from ignorance untold. What happiness you give to me, no words can convey. Reciting with one purpose the blessed of names, I live each day with liberty, with courage anew, that all of the nations receive Amida's light, that all the lands resound with the Buddha's highest praise. We'll spread the noble teachings to all humanity, and walk the path together to Buddha's land of bliss. Okay, next let's recite the Three Treasures. And Three Treasures is on page 2 in the small book. Sorry to make you go back and forth. The Three Treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha Dharma, now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves your supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida. Okay. There. Thank you very much once again for joining us. So today for my Dharma talk, I'm going to kind of bounce off of what I talked about last week, but this time, last week I talked about AI, artificial intelligence. and asking, does AI accord with Buddhist values? So today, I'm going to back up, maybe look at things from a kind of different perspective, and my question today is, does technology accord with Buddhist values? So rather than specifically AI, but think maybe a little more about technology. And so asking a question like that, I think I have to clarify two things. What do I mean by technology? And what do I mean by Buddhist values? So today I thought I would start with Buddhist values. And so today we chanted Sanbutsuge. Now, speaking of AI, a few weeks ago I asked AI, are you familiar with Sanbutsuge? And it said, oh yes. And it gave this long answer that was completely wrong. So anytime you get an answer from AI, you have to read it critically, and you cannot accept what it gives you immediately. You have to question it, because it does a lot of wrong stuff. But the real meaning of Sanbutsuge, it means Gatha, or hymn of praising the Buddha. And it's a story about Amida Buddha before he became Amida. And he starts by praise. He's a king at that point who decides, I want to become a Buddha, declares this in front of the Buddha that he's heard and met, and then first praising that Buddha, but then talking about his own path to Buddhahood. So if you want to open the big purple book, you can. It's page 83 is the passage that I want to look at. Page 83 in the big purple book. One of the neat things about the big purple book is it does give you the Chinese characters at the top with the Japanese pronunciation, and then it has the English letters so you can chant it if you don't know Japanese, and then at the bottom it has translation. So on page 83 on the left side, and I looked at this last week, Fu se jo I kai nin sho jin nyo ze sammai chi e I jo. Right? And the last time I looked at the first half, which has Fu se is giving or dana, kai is discipline, nin, patience, and shojin, effort. There's a few more characters in there, but these are the ones that are part of the 6 Paramitas or the 6 perfections. The translation at the bottom of the page there says, among virtues of dana, readiness, discipline, patience, and endeavor, the highest shall be deep meditation and wisdom. We also have another translation. This is the Shin Buddhism translation series that our own Honganji has put out. And so this translation says something similar. My practice of giving, self-discipline, observance of precepts, forbearance, diligence, and also meditation and wisdom shall be unsurpassed. And so, last week I talked about patience because there's an AI music company whose one of their values is impatience. And that seems to be something in Silicon Valley, right? Don't take off, forget the brakes, right? Cut the brakes, just go as fast as we can. But Buddhist value is patience. Also discipline and giving or kindness, right? And effort. And so these 6 paramitas or 6 perfections, this is the path that someone who wants to become a Buddha takes. If you want to become Buddha, these are the things you want to do. And you want to try your best, but ultimately you want to perfect them. So for example, giving is, we can think, just give and be generous. But ultimately the perfection of giving is selfless giving, right? Not giving, the opposite would be maybe selfish giving, or maybe it doesn't have to be selfish giving, but with no thought of oneself. And the example that I think of is when I was a student. I used to go to Institute of Buddhist Studies in Berkeley. I moved out here actually 30 years ago this year to go to IBS, the Institute of Buddhist Studies. And I had to walk from the dorm, which we've just renovated, is on Haste Street right above college. And the school was way down, kind of downtown Berkeley, but even just walking down to Telegraph Avenue, because I used to work at Cody's Books. And so to walk down from the dorm to Cody's, you had to walk by People's Park. Which is now blocked off by containers, shipping containers, but back then it was an open park. And I kind of knew probably someone's going to ask me for money, so I'm going to be prepared, and I'm going to put $1 in my pocket, right? And so I'm walking down past the park, and someone's like, can you spare a quarter? And it's like, oh, sure. Give him $1. right? And then I keep walking, and I realized he didn't even say thank you. You know, it was like he asked for a quarter. I gave him 4 times that much. I gave him a whole $1, and he didn't say thank you. And then it dawned on me, what was I giving it for? Right? Was I giving it for him? Was I really trying to help him? Or was I making myself feel better? Or was I just doing it so I wouldn't have to dig through my wallet for my own personal safety or something? Right? I could see all these other motivations. My giving was not selfless. I think it had this, benefit of wanting to be generous, but at the same time, there was a lot of me in it. That's not the perfection of giving. The perfection of giving, selfless giving. And so perfecting these is the path of the Bodhisattva. And then the next 2 in there, Sanmai, Samadhi is like meditation, and Chie is wisdom. So that's the ones at the bottom, right? Deep meditation and wisdom. And so those are also part of this Bodhisattva path, right? And so someone following the traditional route will try and perfect these. I think it's important also to kind of understand Buddhahood. And so the next set of verses on there, Go se tokubutsu fu gyo shi gan issai kuku isa dai an. Your book, the book we're looking at, says, I will become a Buddha and completely fulfill my vow. I will bring great peace to all who are in doubt or fear. And this one says, I resolve that when I become a Buddha, I will fulfill this vow in every possible way, and to all beings who live in fear, I will give great peace. And so, once again, this is the goal, the ultimate goal of Buddhism, is to become Buddha, right? To become Buddha oneself so that you can help others, right? So that not only for oneself, that's the aspiration for enlightenment, but there's also aspiration to help all beings, right? To bring all beings to awakening. So it's not just for the seeker. The seeker is doing it for the sake of everyone. And so now in Jodo Shinshu, it's a little different, right? Jodo Shinshu, we talk about these a lot, but the Jodo Shinshu path to Buddhism is a little bit different, because this path, the traditional understanding, it takes multiple lifetimes. You have to do this again and again and again and again and again, right? It's not something you can do in one lifetime. And yet, Amida Buddha, who this is talking about, our statue here, right, set up a way of saying the name, Namo Amida Butsu, right? So you've heard us say that several times already in the service, Namo Amida Butsu, or Nam Manda, right? Our practice is to say the name as we live our lives. I think in the song, too, it had something about so that all nations can hear the blessed of names, or something like that, right? That's what it's talking about, Namo Amida Butsu. The name of Amida Buddha, the Nembutsu, right? Namo Amida Butsu. So that actually, Amida, before he became Buddha, he perfected these so that we don't have to, right? He perfected these knowing how difficult it would be for us. Is it even possible to be selfless? Right? It's maybe kind of impossible in a way, right? To be truly selfless. We have to... It's really hard, trust me. I think you know what I'm saying, right? And so this path to Buddhahood of saying the Nembutsu. So even though it may not be our path of practice, that we don't have to try and perfect these ourselves, and yet I truly feel that these are our values as Buddhists. Right? That these, even though I may not be trying to perfect them, I can still try and find them in my life. I can recognize them in others. If something, the opposite of that is happening, I can be like, and be critical of it. Right? But maybe especially to see where I fall short of that goal of these perfections. Right? And I can try and do them, and yet realizing how hard it truly is to truly perfect these. So let me talk briefly about technology, and obviously it's a huge topic, but we could ask, I think one view of technology is that it's neutral, right? There's a view that technology in itself is neutral, and it depends on how it's used, right? And so there's something to that, right? Thinking about Buddhism and technology, I mean, we think of technology and you think computer and cell phone and AI and stuff like that, but the development of woodblock printing, that was a massive technological leap. Instead of having to write everything down, oh, you want to read this book? Well, I can't give you my copy, but here, I'll copy it for you. Or you can copy it, right? And then take a pen and copy it. People used to do that. When you develop woodblock printing, you carve the text, and then you can go bonk, 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 right? You can make multiple copies much faster and disseminate the information much faster, right? And we saw that, I think, in Europe with Christianity, Buddhism the same way. And actually, the oldest extant block printed book is the Heart Sutra that was found in the Dunhuang caves. It's from like 700s or something like that, right? So that this technology of woodblock printing is fascinating, and it was, for Buddhism, it was a way to spread the message that much more. Actually, even writing in itself is technology, because in India, it was oral transmission of the teachings for hundreds of years. And it wasn't until around the year 0 that they began incorporating writing in India. Before that, it was all orally transmitted, memorized, and then transmitted orally. And so with the development of writing, we see a lot of changes, I think, in Buddhism as well. So, technology can be useful. It's important to know, I think, too, though, that a lot of helpful technology is developed during war, and it's developed for reasons of war and waging war, or it's developed because during war, often ethics kind of goes by the wayside. So there's a lot of medical technology that was developed during World War II by the Japanese in China using human subjects completely unethically in horrible, horrible ways. I think we could go so far as to say war crimes. Nazis as well, right? And we've done that in the United States too. And so, the testing of, and how about animals, testing on animals? I think in Buddhism we'd say that's unethical, because in Buddhism it's not just people, it's all living beings. So technology advances, but at what cost? Right? And so I think we need to be aware of the cost. And we could also look at environment, like I mentioned last week, right, with AI. We really need to be careful about the impact on the environment. Technology, though, we start thinking, right, internet, that's kind of different than woodblock printing, I think, right? And we've seen this massive impact that the internet has had on our society. There's also virtual realities that are being created, right? And so one person that has come up in my looking into this kind of stuff, his name is Mark Andreessen, and he's from Silicon Valley. I think he helped make Netscape, 20, 30 years ago. And he has a book called The Techno-Optimist Manifesto, which is kind of scary. It sounds good, right? Optimist, right? We're optimistic about this, but you kind of realize it's kind of terrifying. I don't think I mentioned this last time. He has this idea of reality privilege. Reality privilege. That rich people have this privilege of having a wonderful, real reality around themselves. Right? That there's beautiful things to look at, wonderful food to eat, interesting people to talk to and date, and that's kind of a paraphrase of his words, right? So rich people have this reality privilege, the unwashed masses, reality deprivation. Too bad you don't have access to this wonderful reality, so you need virtual reality. He's friends with Mark Zuckerberg. Remember when they changed Facebook to Meta? Right? And you're just like, who cares, right? No, the metaverse, trying to make this alternate reality for those of us who aren't rich enough to be able to appreciate real reality, right? And so that's one of the terrifying things to think about. Dystopian, if not, just really kind of terrifying. But the other thing that I really want to kind of address is recently, I guess he gave a talk that reality privilege stuff is from a few years ago, but he said something more recently, that he is trying to have zero introspection, or he wants to have as little introspection in his life as possible, because introspection is going to get in the way of progress. We got to go full steam ahead with AI. We have to go full steam ahead with technology. That's the only way to save humanity. While at the same time, these tech billionaires are also saying there's anywhere from 0 to 50% chance that AI will end up in the destruction of humanity. So there's really a lot of contradiction here, right? But this idea of zero introspection I found really, really interesting. He claims that introspection began with Freud, Sigmund Freud. That's early 20th century here, people, right? And that there was no introspection before that. People just led these blissfully non-introspective lives before, which is absurd, right? We go back in Greek thought, Aristotle, Marcus Aurelius. We can look in Buddhism, right? Buddhism, so much of Buddhism, I think, is introspection. Looking at oneself, right? Trying to be mindful of oneself, trying to be aware of oneself and one's relationships with others, because that's really convenient. If you're not introspective, then you don't have to worry about how you treat other people. No, I'm zero introspection. I don't have to think about my effect on other people or the environment. Right? So this is a terrifying value to me, zero introspection, or being against introspection. To me, introspection is a key part of Buddhism. Throughout Buddhist history, whether it's meditation or the deep insight into perception that Buddhists had. Just this morning, I was kind of thinking about my outfit for the day, and I have these kind of new shoes. My nice shoes are kind of tight, so I can only wear certain socks, right? And the other socks are too thick, right? And so I thought I had the right pair of socks, and I was like, no, I think I'm going to, because up here we don't wear socks now, because we took out the carpet, and we have the hardwood floor, so it's just, we don't wear shoes, right? So it's just socks. So I thought, oh, that's okay, I'll just wear my less formal shoes. I was like, no, I better wear the formal ones. Okay, these socks, these are black, right? Yeah, these are black socks. I'm standing in the hallway waiting to come in here, and the sun's shining. My socks are blue. Dang it, I wanted to wear black socks. I got navy blue socks and black pants. Oh no, I broke the fashion rules, right? But just, realizing, wow, in a dark room, my perception changes. I mean, it's kind of a silly example, but how much do I really see reality? How much do I really know myself? What is reality? I mean, Buddhism does question reality, and yet I don't want to substitute a virtual fake reality programmed by some people, right? I want to be able to question this reality, right? I want to question the actual reality that we live in, the world that we live in, right? And so this introspection, ultimately, I think if one could become a Buddha, we say that Buddha sees things as they are, right? Sono mama. Buddha sees the true reality. We don't. As an unenlightened being, I actually don't see true reality. My reality is filtered, right? And there might be an objective reality, and some kinds of Buddhism even question that. But even with an objective reality, I'm not perceiving it objectively, right? That I'm perceiving it based on my own wants, my own desires, my own aversions, the experiences that I've had throughout my life. We don't even have to go to past lives, but some Buddhists will believe even past lives have an impact on how I see reality, right? And so this kind of wisdom of the Buddha. In Shinshu, they talk about wisdom, that maybe if we truly entrust in the Buddha, not through my own effort, but come to entrust in the Buddha because of Buddha's power, because of the power of the vow, we change, right? We're transformed. And maybe we do see things a little more accurately. But I think one of the deep insights is that in Shinshu, the wisdom is actually seeing how much I don't see true reality. Right? The wisdom of Buddhism, of Shinshu, is to see that I don't have wisdom. And maybe that is kind of like Aristotle. No, it's Socrates, right? And Bill and Ted, when they see this guy, right? And they think, oh, we saw him in our book. It's Socrates, right? True wisdom is knowing that I know nothing. That's us, right? So even Bill and Ted maybe got more wisdom than, what's his name, Mark Andreessen. I don't even want to say his name that often. But, right, this introspection and awareness of myself. An awareness of myself in the world. It's not just me. It's me and everyone else, right? And how I treat others. And that's maybe what we need in Silicon Valley, right? A little bit more concern for others, less this narcissistic, I don't have to think about anyone but myself, and I don't have to think about anything but my own bank account, right? That actually, no, we have huge impact on the world, whether it's environmental or social, and, you know, what can I do? He's not going to watch this, but maybe some Buddhists can get into Silicon Valley. I know they're in there, right? And question this 100% no brakes drive for technology, technology, technology. AI is going to save the world, right? At the same time that they're saying, but there's a good chance it might destroy it. Right? Let's have a little more wisdom. Let's have a lot more caring and kindness. And of course, it can only start with me. And I have to try and incorporate that into my own life. Also, saying the Nembutsu as a Shin Buddhist, Namo Amida Butsu, please keep saying the Nembutsu in your daily life. Right? It's not just for here, it's for all the time. Right? And if you feel yourself moved to say it, say it. If you find yourself even thinking about it, that's something. If you find yourself, wait, Namo Amida Butsu, there's something about that. It doesn't have to pop out of your mouth. It can be in your head, right? And realize, I really thought I knew when I was yelling at that person, but maybe they had a point. I can even see, if I think about what they were saying or whatever, any situation we get into is an opportunity for introspection at the same time as we engage with the real world, not the virtual world, even though we can do it in the virtual world too. So thank you very much. This time, Higan's kind of over. We're going into summer, but this opportunity to think about these paramitas, right? The 6 paramitas, this bodhisattva path to Buddhahood, right? To awakening. And maybe you don't want to become a Buddha. That's fine. It doesn't have to come from you. The awakening actually for Buddhahood comes from Amida, right? It's not something that we have to generate ourselves. And even if you just want to be a better person, or live your life in a better way, or are looking for a way to live. Maybe we don't even feel like I have a way to live. I think a lot of that's samsara too, aimless wandering. That we're just kind of aimlessly wandering in this world that's trying to feed us things that we don't even need, right? Trying to get us angry so that they can get more views and they can have more engagement with X or whatever, right? That maybe Buddhism can show a way, right? This path that we can walk. And the 6 paramitas, I feel, are the values for us as we walk that path, even if we can't live up to them 100%. So I'd like to conclude our Dharma Talk with Gassho. I resolve that when I become a Buddha, I will fulfill this vow in every possible way, and to all beings who live in fear, I will give great peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. And before I forget, I consider peace to be a value too. No more war. Let's not have wars, especially for the wrong reasons. Okay, Gatha. Ondokusan II. Huh? Oh, announcements, and then we'll do Gatha. Announcements, please.
Okay, hello. Thank you very much, Sensei. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Buddhist Church of Oakland. My name is Robert. It's great to see you all here today. First, I'd like to thank Reverend Bridge for his Dharma Talk and officiating today's service. Our Minister Assistant or Assistant Minister, Reverend Michael Endo, Steve Terasaki for playing the organ, and our host 3 group that's taking care of hospitality this morning downstairs, as well as have taken care of hospitality and among other things for the entire month of March. So thank you very much to the host group for this month. I'd like to take this time to welcome, and if I leave anyone out, please let me know. I'm sorry. Olivia, Zane, Tamao, Anne, and thank you very much for coming today. And if you would want to come up and offer incense after the end of the service, please do so. Your host escorts can bring you forward. Okay. Our schedule for the next week. Let's see. Next Sunday is April 5th. The Shotsuki service, the monthly memorial service for the month of April, will be combined with our Dharma family service next Sunday at 10. The following week, Saturday the 11th, April 11th will be our study class, the third in our set of 3 for the winter. The 3 Dharma marks will be talking about suffering. And then on Sunday, the very next day, April 12th, will be Hanamatsuri, the birth of Buddha. And so we'll have our Hanamido set up and things like that. And you can pour sweet tea over the baby Buddha. Let's see, and I want to jump to next month very quickly because there is something coming up on May 17th. Gotanya Fujimatsuri, which is the birth of Shinran Shonin, our founder. And before that is going to be our Kiyashiki, where you could ceremony where you can actually receive a Buddhist name. And so that'll be happening again on May 17th on Sunday, but you have to make arrangements in advance. And that information will be coming out in the Bushin, our newsletter. And Reverend Bridge, you can ask Reverend Bridge questions about it, even Reverend Endo as well, about a Kiyashiki, receiving your Buddhist name. And so that'll be coming out in the newsletter. Okay, I think that's all I have. Oh, and then this came, I'm sorry? Oh, the bento sale, yes. We have a bento sale to celebrate our 125th anniversary. That'll be coming up on April 18th. So you should be able to get on the website and make your arrangements and order right now. So please order. They're $30 a piece. They're salmon bento. They went over really well last year. So I believe we sold out last year. So that'll be coming up on April 19th. And once again, let's see, the Nichibei News came out. There's copies downstairs. You're welcome to take one. This edition is on Japanese culture and focusing on the Cherry Blossom Festival in San Francisco. That'll be happening on April 11th, 12th, and the 18th and 19th in Japantown, San Francisco. Okay? If there's any other questions, we have a slide presentation downstairs. We have bulletin boards, and we're all available to answer questions. So please don't hesitate to come see us. Okay? But thank you very much once again for coming to spend the day with us here at Buddhist Church of Oakland. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. One other thing about Hanamatsuri, our guest speaker will be Miharu Okamura, our junior YBA graduate. She's an adult now and songwriter and singer, and she'll also be debuting a new song, I think, for Dharma School. So really looking forward to that. I think it's April 12th. Ondokusan II. Let's sing Ondokusan II. It's on page 220 in the large purple book. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda. Okay, thank you. This will conclude our Dharma family service. You can come up and offer incense if you have not done so already, and I believe we can still hang out downstairs for a little bit to continue refreshments. And then the OBWA Spring Luncheon will be at noon, I believe, and so that's a kind of separate event. Thank you.